The word as, it's a tiny word, huge implications. I'm Christy Birchfield, and today we are looking at Luke chapter 17. We're looking at the first half of this chapter, and really kind of verses 1 through 19. It talks about faith. Now, Luke has mentioned this in previous chapters, and if you missed any of those, you can always go back and click on the link in the description below. It'll take you to the full playlist for this entire series. But this chapter, chapter 17, what does it truly mean to have faith? And what does it truly mean to act as if you have faith? Now, we see this very clearly demonstrated in the story of the 10 lepers. Now, 10 people afflicted with this horrible skin disease sought out Jesus and asked him to heal them. Jesus tells them to go, show themselves to the priest. Now, we see this, the key verse today is actually Luke 17, verse 14. And it's Jesus, and he says, when he saw them, he said, go show yourselves to the priest. And as they went, they were cleansed. Jesus doesn't tell them that they're healed. Jesus doesn't say anything about waiting for them to, recognize their healing or get excited about that. No, he just tells them, go show yourself to the priest. Now, in that day and time, those lepers would have known and understood that you only went to the priest once you had been cleansed from leprosy. Because then the priest would verify and confirm that you were healed and you could be restored back into society. Jesus didn't say anything about them being healed. Now, they kind of would have assumed that if they're supposed to go to the priest, because that's what you did when you were healed. But they weren't healed at that moment. Instead, they had to get started going toward the priest. The verse says, as they were going. You see, it wasn't enough to just wait there for healing to happen before going to show themselves to the priest. Jesus wanted them to go even before they knew they were healed. They had to demonstrate faith by going in the direction God had sent them, even when they didn't understand or see the results yet. God worked as they were going. That word as is such a key indicator here because it helps us to understand that there was action and movement already happening by these people. God works in our lives as we are continuing to move forward. We have to be acting in faith that God is going to do what he said he's going to do, even when we don't see it yet. These men had to start moving toward the priest, even before they had been healed. Now, are we trusting in God, knowing that God's going to work as we are moving forward? Trust in him to do what he has said he's going to do. Move the direction he has called you to, even if you don't see him working just yet. As you are going, God moves. I'd love to know anything else exciting you saw in this first part of the chapter here, chapter 17. So feel free to leave that in the comments below and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss anything as we continue with the second half of chapter 17 tomorrow. See you then.